ripened fruit. There is a question that does not seek an answer. It seeks the one who asks. You have heard that Brahman is all-pervading. You have heard that the self is one without a second. You have heard that the world is a play of consciousness, that the gods are forms of the formless, that liberation is already accomplished. These are not secrets. They have been spoken for centuries in every tongue, in every temple, in every text that claims to reveal what is hidden. And yet, the asking continues, the seeking continues, the temple visits continue, the prayers continue. The arguments about which God is greater, which scripture is true, which path leads fastest, these continue. Why? Because hearing is not the same as holding. The fruit can hang on the branch for years, hearing the wind speak of the ground without ever falling. It is not stubborn. It is not refusing. It is simply not ripe. And no amount of explanation can ripen what time and silence must complete. So this is not an explanation. This is a turning, a slow turning from the hard to the held, from the believed to the known, from the many to what was never more than one. If Brahman is all-pervading, this means it cannot be located, pointed to, or held apart from anything. It is not a thing among things. It is not a presence that fills a space, because space itself is its appearance. It is not a consciousness that watches the world, because the watching and the watched are not two. There is no second place where anything else could stand. There is no outside. There is no other. If nothing stands outside Brahman, then nothing possesses its own independent existence. Not the world, not the self, not the gods, not the scriptures. Each appears, but none appears on its own. Each is sustained, but none is self-sustained. This is not a void. It is the recognition that the very idea of separate, self-established existence is the only falsehood. The world is not denied. The world is seen as never having been other. This includes the gods: Krishna, Kali, Shiva, Durga, Ganesha. These are not saviors from outside. They are names and forms of what is already the case. To call on Krishna to save you is to call on a name while missing the nature that name points to. To worship Kali as a goddess who grants liberation is to make her other, to make her a power you do not already possess, to make liberation a gift from someone else. But if Brahman is all-pervading, there is no someone else. There is no gift to receive. There is no grace that comes from a distance, because distance itself is the illusion. The gods are not false. The belief that they are other than you is false. They are the same self wearing different masks, and worshipping the masks while ignoring the face beneath is the trap of sectarian devotion. Vedic philosophy builds elaborate systems: caste, stage of life, ritual, scripture, hierarchy. It names Brahman and names the soul, and then negotiates the relationship between them. It says the soul must merge, must attain, must become worthy. But if there is only one, what merges? What attains? What becomes worthy of what? The Vedic framework assumes a journey from here to there, from impure to pure, from bound to free. But if here and there are not two, the journey is a dream of motion in a place where nothing moves. The ritual is not false. The belief that the ritual bridges a real gap is false. The scripture is not false. The belief that the scripture contains what you lack is false. You do not lack. You never lacked. The reading, the reader, and the read are the same. Baba Kinaran does not teach escape. He teaches what has always been the case. The Viviksar says, whatever exists in the macrocosm is also in the microcosm. Know all things are thus. Verse 67. Within the body lie the minds of mountains, and the 4.9 crore worlds spoken of in scriptures. Verse 79. The worlds are not rejected. They are found within. The body is not a prison to be abandoned. It is the field in which the entire cosmos is harvested. The practitioner does not flee the body. He excavates it. He finds the Ganga in the vein, Mount Meru in the spine, the sun and moon in the eyes, the unstruck sound in the heart. Nothing is rejected because nothing was ever other. What is called outside is inside. What is called far is here. What is called many is the singular appearing as multiplicity without ever dividing. The gods are also in the body. Shiva dwells in the Sahasrara, Vishnu in the heart, Kali in the Muladhara. But to find them, there is to find them as yourself. To seek them in temples while they dwell in your own form is to worship the shadow and ignore the substance. The temple is not false. The belief that the god is more present there than here is false. The priest is not false. The belief that he mediates what you cannot directly know is false. You are the mediator and the mediated. You are the temple and the deity within it. You are the worshipper and the worshipped. And this is not poetry. This is the structure of what is. The Guru says, the world is born of doubt. Thus one must turn away from it. Let the mind seek benefit, drink the nectar, and observe all activities. Verse 99. Turning away is not hatred. It is the turning of attention from the surface to the source. The fruit falls from the tree not because it despises the branch, but because its ripeness is complete. It does not struggle to fall. It does not cling. The fall is natural, effortless, and final. So too with the world. It drops from the mind not through force, but through fullness of seeing. The ripened fruit does not say, I am separate from the tree. It does not say, I have achieved something by falling. It simply falls, and in falling, it is found to have never been other than the tree. The seed in the fruit is the tree in potential. The tree in fullness is the seed expressed. No separation ever existed except in the thought that named them two. The thought that named them two was itself the tree. Dreaming, it was a seed. This is the Agor resolution. Not the destruction of the world, but the destruction of the otherness of the world. The world is not an illusion. The illusion is that the world is other than what is. Remove the otherness, and the world remains. But as what it always was, the singular, unbounded, self-luminous play of the one, appearing as many without ever becoming many. Verse 224. I am Brahman, the self. The world was created within me without cause. I am Niranjana, the nameless. Within me, all desires dissolve. The world is created within, not outside. Without cause, because there is no second thing to cause it. Without purpose, because there is no other for whom it could serve. It is the spontaneous expression of what cannot be contained, the overflow of fullness that needs no recipient. The creator and the created are not two. The container and the contained are not two. The one who sees this and the seeing itself are not two. The Guru describes the supreme state. There is no concept of nirguna or saguna, no I or you, no yoga or technique or worldly dealings. Verse 50. Even the distinction between formless and formed vanishes. Even the distinction between the seeker and the sought vanishes. There is no one who attains and nothing attained. There is no one who knows and nothing known apart from the knowing. This is not a merging of two into one. It is the recognition that two was never born. The practitioner who realizes this does not become something new. He stops being what he never was. He does not acquire a higher self. He sees that the self he took himself to be was a ripple, imagining it was separate from the water. The ripple is water. The wave is ocean. The part is the whole, not by expansion, but by the impossibility of division. Krishna cannot save you, not because he is unwilling, but because there is no you separate from him to be saved, and no him separate from you to save. Kali cannot liberate you, not because she is powerless, but because liberation is the recognition that bondage was a story told in a dream, and the dreamer and the dream are the same. Shiva cannot destroy your ignorance, not because his trident is blunt, but because ignorance is the belief that there is someone ignorant, and someone who removes ignorance, and both are the same self playing both roles. Sectarianism is the worship of one mast while fighting those who worship another. It is the belief that Krishna is true and Shiva is false, or that Kali is higher and Vishnu is lower. But if all are masks of the same, what is the fight? The Vaishnava who hates the Shaiva worships a form while hating his own nature. The Shaiva who despises the Shakta clings to a name while rejecting the power that name signifies. The Vedantan who argues with the Tantric about which path is superior argues in a dream about which road leads to a destination that was never departed from. All paths lead to the same recognition, because all paths are walked by the same walker. The argument about which path is true is the final obstacle on every path. The scriptures are not false. The belief that they contain what you do not already possess is false. The rituals are not false. The belief that they create a connection that was ever broken is false. The gods are not false. The belief that they are other than you, that they possess power you lack, that they can grant what you must earn. This is false. You are the power. You are the earning. You are the grant and the granted. And this is not arrogance. It is the humility of seeing that there was never anyone else to bow to. So what is called Brahman is not empty. It is the fullness from which nothing is excluded. It is empty only of the false. The false idea that anything exists in opposition to it, that any form possesses its own independent nature, that any self is truly separate. There is no second thing to oppose it. There is no second thing to possess anything. There is no second thing to be separate. There is no second thing to be saved. The path is direct. It does not negotiate with the idea of two. It does not refine the self through gradual purification. It cuts at the root, the belief in separation. And in that cut, the world is not lost. It is finally seen as it is. Not one thing replacing another, but the singular appearing as all without ever having departed from itself. The fruit falls. The tree remains. They were never two. The seeker finds. The sought is found to be the seeking itself. They were never two. The devotee calls on Krishna. Krishna answers as the devotee's own voice. They were never two. The worshipper approaches Kali. Kali opens her eyes as the worshipper's own seeing. They were never two. The yogi meditates on Shiva. Shiva sits as the yogi's own stillness. They were never two. What remains is not what was gained. It is what was never absent, now unobstructed by the one who asked.